Growing up, I think I had a pretty normal life. I was the youngest of 3. I have 2 older brothers. We did move around a lot because my dad had a state job. So I went to several different elementary schools until finally I moved to Oshkosh in probably like 5th grade. But I never fit in with my brothers. My brothers had all the same friends, so I was kind of left out. The first time I used, I was in 4th grade. My best friend's mom smoked pot with us. I remember knowing it was wrong, but feeling good that I was doing something wrong, feeling good that I was getting away with it. I liked it. Right away, I liked it. And I went home and my mom was like, "Are you high?" "No, what do you mean?" So I think she had an inkling, but I played it off pretty well. I don't think anyone knew. And once I went into high school, it was a daily thing. I smoked before school, at lunch, after school. I would skip class to smoke, but not till senior year did I start doing the harder stuff at school. I graduated with a 3.4, and I got to graduate a semester early. I think my parents knew I was smoking. They were concerned and they expressed that and told me that it's not acceptable and that when I'm living in their house, it's not going to be tolerated. But there was no real consequence at that point. My mom was diagnosed with cancer when I was 17 in January of 2003. And unfortunately, she died April 1st of 2003. So we didn't have very much time, but she stayed at home. She didn't go to a hospital or anything. My dad and I took care of her at home until she passed away. I quit my job shortly before she died so I could stay home with her. And I ended up going out all the time, partying all the time. I think that my dad, he chose not to address it as harshly because I still played the victim role. I didn't let him forget that I lost my mom and that, you know how hard this was. We did this together. We took care of her together. Nobody else had to go through that. And I think that made him have a blind spot for my using. He knew I used. He didn't know the extent. I think that I played the victim role very well, that I just lost my mom and I don't need to feel anything. I deserve to be as high as I want to be, as often as I want to be high. I knew after my mom died that I had a problem. Hospice came in after she passed away, and I knew they were going to want all her prescriptions, and I already had them all out of the bottles and tucked away, and told the nurse that I already dumped them so that I could keep them. Once I got my state job, which was probably about a year and a half after she passed away, I started to try to calm down, and I did for a while, but I never quit. The real consequences didn't come until I stole a bottle of OxyContin. It was a bottle of 180s, and it was gone in like 10 or 12 days. So it turned into multiple charges, which were felony charges. Lost my job, lost the place I was living, lost my current relationship that I was in, lost everything. My life, my whole life that I knew was gone. I think I did a good job with manipulating my dad until drug court. And once he heard what the charge was, that it was manufacture and delivery of heroin, he was not happy with me. But at the same time, he still enabled me by helping me to get a lawyer and get off with the least amount of consequences as possible. And I tried heroin. And then I started using heroin every day. Turned into a several times a day, everyday thing. It stopped being pleasurable when I started getting really sick. When I didn't have it and I couldn't go to work, shower even. Everything hurt so bad. All my mind could think is how, when, and where, because I need this. I had 2 felony drug charges within a 3-month period, so they offered me drug court. And at first, I was so against drug court. I did not want to have anything to do with it. I remember thinking, oh, I have to go in for this interview for drug court and I'm gonna bomb it. I'm gonna do everything that I can do to not be accepted into drug court. And my lawyer told me, oh, you probably won't even go to jail. You know, you're fine. And when I sat down with Carol Morak, Winnebago County Drug Court, it's the end of the interview, and she said, you know, Kristin, I don't know why everyone's sugarcoating this for you, but if you don't get accepted into drug court, your second charge is manufacture and delivery of heroin. You will go to prison. I was going to do anything I could do to not go to prison. But not that day, or not the next day, not until I absolutely had to do it. It was the Wednesday before my first drug court appearance, and I was meeting my new probation officer and my caseworker, and I got high on the way.
I'm Jennifer Guerin, the Neenah probation parole agent. I was Kristin's agent. I inherited her case from another agent, and she seemed sweet. She seemed just nice as can be, and I thought she's gonna be sneaky.
They asked me when I got there if I would have a clean UA. And I said, yeah, it'll be clean. They said, okay, because you know we're going to UA you. And I was like, okay, it's not going to be clean. They UA'd me and they told me, you have 72 hours to have a clean UA, period. In my mind, I thought, I can still use today and I'll stop using tomorrow. And I used that day, and I used the next day, and I used the next day. And then it was the day to appear for drug court. And my great aunt's funeral was also that morning. And I used before I went to her funeral. And I pulled over a block before the courthouse, and I shot up there on the street. And when I went in and I stood up in front of Judge Wolt for the first time, he said to me, "You're high as a kite right now, aren't you?" And I'm like, no, I didn't use today. I didn't use.
I'm Judge Scott Wolt. Worked as a drug court judge now going on 10 years. My first impression when I met Kristin was she knew how to play me. She knew what she had to say. Everything was going to go by, and this drug court was going to be real easy.
I had always gotten away with everything. I had always found a way through my UAs, always found a way to use. Drug court took that away. First time I had a UA and someone walked in that bathroom with me, I was like, what? How am I going to use this fake pee? He threw me in jail. And then I had to detox in jail from methadone and heroin at the same time. I honestly thought that I was dying and they were just going to let me die in there. They kept me in the medical pod for 10 days. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, but I didn't have enough energy to even stand up. It was a horrible, horrible experience. But it's what kept me from not wanting to use then when I got out. I did not want to have to go through that again.
She relapsed quite early in her drug court time. She ended up using with some peers, and that was just within a few days. She was in outpatient treatment, and they decided she needed inpatient treatment.
I was in Casa Clara for about 2.5 months, and I had a home visit, and I still had stuff tucked away at home that I thought I would sell when I needed money, and it only took one bad day. I always planned it all in my head. I always knew how I was going to get away with everything. And I knew that they only had 5 panel tests at Casa Claire. So the methadone wouldn't show up. So I would be okay. I could use it and I can go back after my home visit. And if they UA me, that's okay. And they UA'd me and they had new tests. That was the first time I got to use the new test. And the house manager looked at me and said, "What is MTD?" I don't know. And I felt myself get all red. And she could see it. She knew I was lying. I'm not sure.
She was trying to explain away how possibly her drug tests could come up positive. And it was never because she used. It was always because of some other cause. And for doing this 10 years, I've heard everything. Lying seemed to be a big thing with her.
Drug court sent me to AODA County Jail for 5 days because of that relapse. And I went right back to Casa Claire.
And then shortly after she got to the apartments, she drank alcohol with a peer. And it was hard for her to be honest about that.
And I lied and I lied and I lied, thinking I would get away with it. And he told drug court. Drug court came and arrested me from step. Being arrested from step, that was definitely something I'll never forget. And I thought, I'll get a week, big deal.
But I still think she needed the push to know that if she made a mistake, someone would still be there.
And she got jail time for that. I think she got a 90-day sanction for that.
It's 90 days. And that 90 days, I believe I needed every single day of it. And that was what changed my life. Because in the beginning, I thought, maybe they'll just let me go home then after this. Maybe I won't have to go to treatment. After 2 months, I thought, I don't want to go home. Nothing is going to change if I go home. And I knew something was different when I wanted to go back to Casa Claire. My relationship with Cheryl started off pretty rough.
When I first met Kristin, I will say she was kind of a brat. She was very angry, had a wall up like no other, and I knew right off from the get-go it was because she did not trust.
I just had such an attitude with her, and I thought that was okay. No, she pulled me in by my in-house counselor right after that group, and then I hated her even more. Oh, she's gonna tell on me? What? I don't even know you and you're telling on me? That time that I sat down with her and Noelle, I really had kind of a breakthrough. I realized that she really did me a big favor there. And after that, I had some kind of respect for her.
But then watching that wall come down with her was just an amazing experience to be a part of.
I have never had someone so easy to talk to, someone that I felt wasn't judging me in any way at all. She was the first counselor that I could be honest with. Cheryl helped me a lot through a lot of things.
There's nothing like seeing someone succeed. And when she got to the point where she understood it, she would come in and little things, like my big thing is Tootsie Pops. When someone does well, I'll give them a Tootsie Pop. It is not about the item that I give them. It's about the look, the touch, the eye contact, all of those things I have with that individual when they come up, showing them that someone cares about them. And I can remember her graduation day and just how proud she was of herself. And she came up to me after, and she even said, "I'm so proud of what I've done." And I just had to say to her, just so you understand, Kristin, you're starting another phase of your recovery. You haven't finished anything. You just got a good start. And she said, I understand that fully. It wasn't something that was surprising to her, but I think it's something that she needed at that point to understand that you're not done now. This is a lifelong thing. And she shows that she understands that because she's still doing it today.
Everyone from drug court, from the staff and the people that worked there, to the people I was in it with, to the people that didn't make it through, that are in prison today or are not here with us on earth today, to the people that graduated, this is possible. This is really possible. People actually do this. Casa Claire showed me the importance of female relationships and holding tight and finding a support network and finding the healthy people. The house managers there, amazing, amazing people. Great talks when counselors weren't available or when I didn't feel comfortable going to a counselor. To this day, my best friends are from Casa Claire, people that I went through treatment with or met at STEP. You know, I was not always a good employee there. And now when I can look back and see these people that are doing the same things that I did and be able to understand, I was there once. I know what you're feeling. I know what you're going through, and I know it's hard to make it even just through the day. But there's a reason you're here, and there's a reason I'm here talking to you about it. And there's a reason someone was there talking to me about it. They've all made a big impact on my recovery. Now I am customer service, and I am training as ISO manager, and I work in the front, and I really like it, and I'm really glad that I stayed and that I stuck out the hard times. Feel like it's kind of meant to be. Every little thing that happened there was meant to be. I'm pregnant. I'm due September 20th. My first baby. It's gonna be a little boy. Very excited. His dad is Ben. He works a strong program too. Very excited.
I want to thank you so much for letting me be a part of your journey. You have taught me so much about resilience, strength, being able to make it through some very difficult life stressors. I think if Kristin wasn't given a second chance, in all honesty, I think she probably would have lost her life. If not that, she would be in prison. And I am just so anxious to see what your life's going to become. And I hope that we continue to stay in touch. And again, thank you for letting me and Casa be a part of your life.
I call them my kids, and I would do anything for Kristin. She has proven to me without a doubt that she can do what she needs to do to be successful in her recovery.
It was just such a wraparound of resources. For me as an agent, I had STEP, she met her sponsor there, she had accountability there, she had drug court, she had CASA, she had counselors helping her. It all fit together in a nice package, and she took advantage of every single one of those cogs in the circle. So, I appreciate her story. I could cry. I'm just so proud of her. So proud of her.
When I think of my recovery, I think of drug court, I think of CASA, and I think of STEP. They came together to definitely create who I am and what I stand for today. I don't always remember how much I put into it. To everyone that has helped me through my recovery and my journey so far, I mean, there's no way I could name them all. There's no way that I could find the words to give the gratitude that I feel. I don't think I would be alive today if it weren't for those people. I was on a very rough track, and I was going down real fast. And so many people believed in me when I didn't and saw a chance. They gave me a chance. I don't think I would have given myself a chance. Thank you to everyone that has helped me become who I am today.